welcome. These are horse racing selections for Thursday, the 8th of May. I am flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. Alright, it's been a bit quiet, innit? Didn't play Tuesday, didn't play Wednesday, so I do have to do a review of Monday, which is the only day we played this week. And then we'll get into Thursday. I got 7 on the list, and I've not done what I would normally do. So normally speaking, if I've got 7, I would do a Yankee and a Trixie. Potentially the Yankee might be the best 4, or it might be a bit of a jumps on one, flat on the other type gig, and we do a Yankee and a Trixie. But I've got 2 that, of my 7, that just got quite a lingering doubt, and I don't want to get in the habit of not putting them up if they hit the star system, because the whole point is you build a system to take some of the subjectivity out of it. So I've put the 2 ones that I have got a bigger doubt on, not to say the other 5 are going to be all dreamy, but you know what I mean. So the 2 with the bigger doubt are together in a double, and then I'm going to put the 5 that don't have the doubt together in a 5-horse bet. So that's the play. It's 15.25 I'm playing on Thursday. So a 5-horser. So, you know, some folk will do Canadian Super Yankees, that kind of stuff. I will be doing my traditional, well, it's traditional strong word. What I've been doing mostly recently, which is win doubles, each way trebles, 4-folds, and a slightly bigger each way 5-fold. That's what I'm doing. And it's a combination of Chester, Tipperary. There's one of them at Huntingdon, one of them at Chelmsford. I think it's 3 Chester, 2 Tipperary, at Huntingdon, and a Chelmsford. That's what I got. There's a few other bits I was going to talk about as well. So I'll see as I get on, because I'll be honest, it's not been a great week for sleep. Still got a bit of sickness in the house, a bit of conjunctivitis knocking about, bit of earache, coughing in the night. Not me, but yes, I'm up with small people or someone lying next to me. You know how it goes. So it's slightly sleep deprived. So although I'm not uploading it at the latest hour I have done, I don't want to be on the vid for too long. So yes, there's a few other bits I should mention. I'll try and remember, because some of it's related to stuff that's been in the comments in the last few days about things I was just going to reference. I think, I'll try and say it out loud now and try and remember. I was going to Bog. I think I was going to talk about best price guaranteed. Sea shanties. I think I was going to mention sea shanties, and I was going to mention big wins. I think that's it. I'm not going to mention biggest bets of the year, if you catch my drift. By the way, if anyone I mean, not everyone gets what I'm talking about, but if you did, masterclass. It's absolute masterclass, some of this stuff. So everyone's left believing that the biggest bet of the year was a non-runner. It wasn't a non-runner. It was a 5-to-1 shot that wasn't backed in, and it didn't frame. That's what the biggest bet of the year was. That wasn't a non-runner. The non-runner was the other one, the one that was put up that everyone saw. The one that you didn't see was the 5-to-1 shot in the Apprentice Handicap that got beaten, and it never got referenced. So poor anyone else who invested on that one. Right, where were we? Review. Oh yeah, the review. I lost my notepad. I have that many blinking notepads knocking about this house. So the Monday bet, I haven't got the paper. So the Monday bet was 9.25. We had 3 horses run for us. Runaway Merida was another absolute donut of a zebra. Right of Way was a non-runner. Another Million was 1 out of the placings. It was done in a head bobber. That would have made a nice difference, but it wasn't. So it was 4th, we needed 3rd. And then we had My Ambition, which was very close. Overall, it was 2nd. So I had it as 9.25 on, 3.63 back, a loss of 5.62. We are tracking small loss for May. Small loss for May. Overall for the channel, we are now slightly behind. I think it's exactly £9.50. So let's get into Thursday. So here's the 2 with a cloud hanging over their heads. Right, 130 Chester. I've probably spent more time on this race, well, I have absolutely spent more time on this race than any other race. because I've had a lot of to-in and throw-in. The reality is, this is the horse that hits the star system, Ballon d'Or, 20-1. It's got really good form. Simple. All right, okay, it's got good form. I think it's good. It's a great price, other than the fact of the draw. Now, people will talk about, Chester and Beverley on sprint racing, so 5 furlong, 6 furlong, having the strongest draw bias of any racetrack in the UK. For my money, Chester is far more pronounced than even Beverley is. And the thing with Chester is, particularly on a 5 furlong, if you've got a front runner in stalls 1, 2 or 3 that's half decent, they are very, very hard to get past. So it's not to say, right, because obviously the difference here is I'm not betting all of these horses to win. They are each way. So we're looking for top 4 in this race. But this horse is drawn in the car park seat. So the question is, it is supposed to be a prominent runner, whether or not it can get involved very early. So there's quite a number of horses in that race that break well. So the question mark is, how quickly can it start? How quickly can it get across? Because at Chester on the 5 furlongs, they come out and they go around the bend so quickly. So if you're not on the money, you're toast. If you're a front runner and you're drawn wide. So if you actually look at statistically speaking, particularly if you get to races like this where you've got more than 10 runners on a sprint, if you're drawn sort of second half of the draw, you've got such minimal chance unless you get a nice scenario. So there was a scenario on Wednesday at Chester. If you look at the results, there was a horse in the 6 furlong race, 10 runners, drawn 10, broke incredibly well, and nothing got near it. So it can happen. It's just few and far between. So I think on form, if they all had an even chance of a draw, this horse would be really competitive. I think it's very unlikely to win from the draw of 12, and there are some speedy horses. Drawn 1, drawn 3. There's definitely some pace on. So that's my big negative against it. It didn't get marked down enough because I don't have a special thing in my star system that says drawn in the car park over a sprint at Chester, like minus 10 points. So that's why I've included it, but I'm giving you a big health warning on the horse. So if it doesn't get out well at the start, I can't see it making up ground. So the race will either be kind of not won or lost, but framed or lost at the start. And then we're going 6:55 Chelmsford, Temple Brewer. Really good Chelmsford form. The last 2 runs has been absolutely terrible. And so the question there is whether it has got anything to bounce back to. It has had previous of running badly and then running well again, and the Chelmsford form is good, but it was the riskiest of all the others, and so I've put them 2 together. So we've got a 75p each way double and 2 50p each way singles. 350 is the total bet. In order to get 4 places on the 130 Chester, you want 365 Paddy, Sky, Betfair, Betfred, Ball Sports or Betway. That is that. Get the other one. Right, here's the main bet. 5 of them here, 2 Chester, 1 Huntingdon and 2 Tipperary. Nothing massive price by my standards, but we're starting the 235 the Chester. Now, the bookie advice is all related to this specific race, this 235 the first leg, because Sky, I've written that wrong, haven't I? That's supposed to say 365. Sky, Paddy, 365 and Betfred, that's who it should be. I've written Sky twice, that's great. So Sky, Paddy, 365 and Betfred are offering 3 places on this 7 runner. And Mirabeau, it ran well enough last time. It's going to have to get on to do something to beat the favourite, but it's, Chester's a funny track, not all horses are suited by it. But from a form point of view, I had it second best. So I think it's a good bet, 12-1 each way, 3 places. It would be included for the channel each way 2 places, but 3 places is an extra little bonus because I put it in with a view of it being 2 places, and then realised that 4 of the big bookies were actually 3 places. So Miraboo is in. We're then going 410 Chester box to box. Memory says I think we had previous on this maybe a couple of years ago. So again, this one is drawn in the widest draw, but drawn widest on 10 furlongs on Chester isn't the end of the world if you've got a horse that it will suit. Box to box has got previous of being in the widest stall from this over this distance, course and distance at Chester, and getting from the front. I think Oisin, oh no, I can't say his name. It's like best jockey in the UK potentially. Oisin Murphy. Oh, just move on, right? You know what I mean. I do have some level of competence. I just can't always pronounce stuff, all right? Oisin Murphy is riding, which I think is a really interesting jockey booking. You need this horse to do a big swinger from the front. So to get out from the wide stall, swing round, but there's time to do it. So it breaks well. I mean, it's not a 5 furlong sprint race, so it doesn't have to go like the clappers at the start. There's not that much pace in the race. So I kind of see there's maybe like 2 others that might be vying up there from the front that have got a bit of a better draw. But the interesting thing here in the betting is I don't know what will go with it, because the outside draw will absolutely draw negatives for kind of the average person looking at this who knows a bit about Chester. But the jockey booking will also make this a popular pick. So whether or not it's going to move either way, I couldn't honestly tell you. So sometimes I kind of get a vibe and some I don't. This one I really don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if it got bigger. It wouldn't surprise me if it got shorter. But 7-1, really I wouldn't want to play short from a channel perspective. But I think there's value in the 7-1, definitely. The horse has been running over in Bahrain, but that's what it's done previously, and come back to the UK turf and run well. And the handicap mark is great. So yeah, I'm betting that horse with a view that it's definitely got chances of coming out ahead on that one. And it would be a surprise to me, given the handicap mark and the jockey booking, if that horse didn't make it in the top 4. But you know, and we'll see. Sky are paying 5 on it. Everyone else is 4. Then we move through 425 Huntingdon. We've got the first of 2 bumper horses. Big Wig at Huntingdon. I made it 3rd best, and it's not priced as 3rd best, so I think 12-1 each way is a good play. 535 Tipperary. We've backed this a number of times. Very experienced horse. It's a long road. It's another front runnery type. We got a few in today's lineup, but it's long road. It's better over chasers than it is hurdles. I think it ran hurdles last time. Better over chasers, and you know it's got what I would say is optimum ground for the horse. If you look at previous kind of history in the last few years, good to yielding, which is what the current going suggestion is at Tipperary, is optimum conditions. So if it goes from the front, and it's a 2 mile Tipperary, it's not the 2 mile 1 and a bit that sometimes they run over on that course. It's the straight 2 miles. It's not straight, you know what I mean? It's as in it's just 2 miles rather than 2 miles and a bit, which I think will suit the horse, because sometimes it does it goes from it up the front and then sometimes does a bit too much. So it's a really poor looking race, to be honest, given the standard of the race. There's a lot around it that you just think really not looking at. That being said, there's been a few funny results this last last week really, of horses with literally 0 form popping up. But yeah, it's a good each way bet. So it's long road 16s, and then finishing off another bumper horse, 745 Tipperary, a new deck, similar to Big Wig really. I kind of had it 2nd, 3rd best horse on known form. There's quite a few in this race that are only raced in point to points, and then so you have to do a bit of transferring of numbers and data and equations and stuff. But I'd rather in that situation have a horse that has run on a bumper, so I know how it's going to run on the flat. I think it's 2 mile 2. It's a funny distance for a bumper. I'd rather have a horse that I know will run on the flat okay, as opposed to a horse that's only run point to points and therefore it's normally done 3 miles. So that one's in. So the bet: 10 times 20p win doubles, 10 times 15p each way trebles, 5 times 15p each way fourfolds. So win doubles, each way trebles and fourfolds, and a 25p each way fivefold. So all of that for the multiples adds up to £7 exactly. And then with 50p each way singles on the 4 double figure prices, Miraboo, Big Wig, It's Long Long Road and a New Deck, and 75p win single on box to box. Sky Best because you've got the 5th place there, but what you really want is Sky Paddy, 365 or Betfred, so you can get the 3rd place there. All of these are the same pretty much. So standard terms 3 places, 4 places most bookies, 3 places standard terms, 11.75. All right, that's that. So there's a few other bits I was going to talk about. Another thing I was going to talk about. There's been quite a lot of old favourites coming up this week, hasn't there? I think Billy Mill won on Wednesday. Mukher, backed it the previous time, didn't go for it this time. I think was that Monday? I think it might be Monday. Really annoying. The bit I missed when I did my research is that's the 3rd year in a row where the first 2 runs it's run no sort of race, and the 3rd run it's won. 3 years in a row where 3rd run of the season won after 2 no joys. So those sorts of patterns can be quite helpful when you start following, some of the older experienced horses, to sort of see when it's more likely the trainer is going to try a little bit harder, or the horse is fitter, whichever variation of that you lean on. That was a bit annoying. Visibility and old favourite, I'm sure when I looked at that race that was nowhere near the price it was. I think it won 18-1. I don't, anyone feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember seeing it at that sort of price, because I think I'd have been interested in playing up at that end of the market, whereas I don't remember seeing it like that. The challenge with that horse is when's it really going for it, and the turf form is a bit few and far between, but it actually wasn't too bad. There's been a few like that have popped up. What was I going to talk about? Sea shanties. I think I said. Did I say she? So I'll see if I can find it and put it in the comments for this video. But it was on a previous video. Gomez, who long time follower of the channel, who clearly had a bit too much time. I think he even said that to me. He's been playing around with AI and some sort of like music software thing, and very humorously has created some sort of like AI generated sea shanty about the channel, it absolutely tickled me, just because it was just so silly. It's just like, I was thinking, it's amazing what people have got time for, and then I think about how much time I put into this for kind of without really asking for anything. So I'm like, do you know what? If someone could spend half an hour, I don't know if it's half an hour, less than that, making a sea shanty about the channel, then well done to you. So thank you, Gomez. You put a smile on my face. It was very amusing. So I was going to talk about that. Bog. I was going to mention Bog. Yeah, this came up in comments. It comes up every now and again. So just to reiterate what I will say regularly on here, the bets I put up on here are my bets where I am happy to take the price. Most horses get bigger from the time I make this video, from the time of the race. Most horses are bigger in price. The majority of horses are bigger in price in the whole of horse racing land. The majority of mine get shorter because I'm making judgments based on price. I'm not picking, like most people do, the horse they think is the most chance of winning. If I did do that, it would look entirely different. I wouldn't have touched most of these with a barge pole. Box to box, maybe. That'd probably leave that in there. That would be in. But that's not how. That's how most people do it. That's not how I do it. I'm doing it based on, I write my own version of what the betting market should be. I use my own kind of algorithm system that I've worked up. I mean, algorithm sounds a bit fancy, but I guess that's sort of what it is. It's just a little bit more manual than you might want it to be. I've had some really side comment. I've had some really interesting conversations with a couple of people in the last few weeks about systems they've created and clever stuff they've done with data. A lot of my clever stuff is either written down or it's in here rather than it's in a computer algorithm. But so what all of my picks are based on the value, I believe. So I wouldn't put them up if I didn't think they would be able to get framed. But the price is the important thing. I'm not advising these horses to be backed at starting price. I'm not advising them, if they're half the odds of, unless I say it's amazing, if they're half the odds, then I wouldn't back them. So I'm putting them up at these prices. I'm putting them up at prices I believe people can obtain, where at least 3 major bookies are paying it for the place terms I'm talking about. So I'm trying to be super fair with it. But the majority of them, I can't remember the latest stats, but it's kind of more, basically twice as many shorten than drift on what I do. That would kind of be the opposite if you were just doing yours blind. So if you are picking horses, my suggestion is if all you do is do them the night before and you're not confident about the price, then take starting price. If you've got the ability to do it in the morning, that is always better because you can get best price guaranteed. So depending on your bookie, whether they allow it or not, but most still do a version of it. Some only do it on singles, it gets a bit complicated, but 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever it might be. If you're getting best price guaranteed and you can put the bet on in the morning, that is better. The challenge I've got is I'm putting the bets out the night before because I'm trying to obtain best possible price. If I really wanted to do it proper, I'd try and put videos out 6:30 every day. I just physically can't do that. But by putting them out the night before, I'm trying to basically beat the SP on the majority of horses. That is what I'm trying to do. That is what I do. The majority of horses get bigger. So if you can get bog in the morning with your own selections, that is the best way to do it. Likewise, if you're betting lucky 15s and you're using a bookmaker who's got a bonus, that is better than doing a Yankee that I might do on the channel. But I'm not getting bonuses on the channel, right? So just some people don't get this stuff. I understand those things, right? So I bet savvy in my own world, right? But as far as the channel goes, I'm doing something that everybody else can try and achieve. So if you're using a bookmaker like a 365 or a Betfred, where you're getting a bonus for one winner on Lucky 15 or potentially bonus on all winners or whatever, then a Lucky 15 is better than a Yankee. If you're not getting a bonus, then a Lucky 15 is the same as a Yankee. It's just the Yankee with singles. What I do on the channel usually is a Yankee with slightly higher singles, and that's more about trying to even variance, because long term I make more profit line on multiples than I do on singles. Okay. I think that's probably more detail than I was going to go into, so hopefully that makes sense. So, headline. My prices, I take my prices. If you're doing your own selections, if you can wait till bog, you wait till bog, because you'll be better off doing that if you're not confident with the prices, depending however you're picking them, whatever system, your auntie's name or, your favourite colour, whatever it might be, whatever system you use, you're better off doing that once you get best price guaranteed in the long term. Was something else I was going to talk about? Talked about bog, talked about sea shanties, talked about lucky 15s and Yankees. There was another topic, wasn't there? I think I said I was going to talk about now. Now I don't know what it is. I don't know. I think I've probably got to the end of this video. You've had a ramble. We haven't been on for a couple of days. You've had a bit of a ramble. Not everyone's gig. Some like ramble, some like waffle, some don't like waffle, some don't like rambles. I like rambles. That's annoying me now. Whatever that was, I don't know. Right, I'll leave it there. I'll think about it for the next video. Whatever it was probably incredibly insightful and would have changed your life. But now I can't tell you. All right, see you on the next video. Thank you very much. Bye bye.